In addition to reading slowly and requiring extra time on tests, dyslexics struggle with learning a foreign language. What about accommodations for the foreign language requirement? Are they available? And what form do they take? In previous lectures, you learned that students who are dyslexic struggle with foreign languages. Since these students have yet to master the basic phonology of the language they have been immersed in since birth, they are hardly likely to become proficient in a new language when they are young adults. In secondary school, students can and often do slip by through rote memorization, diligence, and pleasant personalities, receiving passing grades without having the slightest ability to converse in that language. But in college, students are expected to become proficient in a foreign language, able to converse in it and read its literature. At times, students will come to realize the futility of their quest and request a partial waiver of the foreign language proficiency requirement. Alternatively, an experienced instructor may be the first to appreciate the degree of a student's difficulties and recommend a waiver. Yale students who are dyslexic and find they are struggling with the foreign language may request an assessment, and if found to be dyslexic, can apply for a partial waiver of the foreign language requirement. Here, after careful review, a partial waiver may be granted with the stipulation that the student is expected to take 6 course credits in a course given in English in the study of the culture, history, politics, or literature of any specific non-English speaking culture or society. This model policy reaffirms the importance the university places on the foreign language requirement and its desire to have students meet the spirit of the requirement rather than solely pass a course. This is a very useful and proper accommodation. Furthermore, it prevents needless suffering and waste of a student's time and energy, while allowing him to focus on courses he has a chance of mastering and to actually learn about a non-English speaking country. Technology has become a godsend to dyslexic readers. Think about how technology, what specific forms, can be a very helpful accommodation to a dyslexic. Write down your thoughts. Here, I will share with you how technology, especially digitized text, helps dyslexic readers. Just how helpful it is for dyslexic students to be able to listen to digitized or recorded text is exemplified by stories of dyslexic students who endured years of struggle before they began using text-to-speech technology. For example, as one relieved dyslexic college senior explained, "I could remember just about everything I heard, but read too slowly to keep up, and so much effort was put into trying to decode the words that I had little comprehension afterwards. Once I began using text-to-speech technology, everything changed. I started to feel much better about myself. I really was learning the material, and I no longer made excuses to avoid doing my work because it made me feel bad. The audio changed my life. For the first time ever, I got straight A's." Beyond schoolwork, dyslexia tears at the independence of the maturing adolescent. Having his text digitized and available for text-to-speech technology helps give the student back his sense of independence, Accordingly, once a dyslexic child is in middle school or high school, plans should be made to have his textbooks digitized. Listening to the digitized books allows the student to participate in courses and to study at his level of understanding rather than be held back by his slow reading. Furthermore, digitized text and text-to-speech technology introduce him to vocabulary words that he may not have encountered in his otherwise limited reading. Listening and following along with the text in front of him allows a student to actively dig into his reading by, for example, underlining, taking notes, and highlighting important reinforcement activities that were never even considered when the student was totally focused on deciphering the words on the page. To summarize, in this section, we have provided and discussed the three most key accommodations for a dyslexic student. So keep in mind that building a bridge to success for the maturing dyslexic student requires three basic ingredients: extra time and a quiet, separate room for examinations, some form of waiver of the foreign language requirement, and digitized text coupled with text-to-speech technology for listening.
There's just some incredible resources out there now that I think people are really fortunate to have. But I remember when I was in like 5th grade, and I think it was the science homework, but because my mom worked as a journalist, she always had these tape recorders. And we had tape recorders lying around the house. And I remember I would go sit on our kitchen table and I would read out loud the book into the tape recorder. And then I would listen to it because I knew that's how I would know it, because we didn't know I was dyslexic. So I didn't have the audio things, but then also technology was just different. I think that was the 90s. So truly, I think for anyone who is dyslexic, as painful as it might be at times, finding multiple ways to process information is so important. Another trick that I learned was I used to take massive amounts of notes, because I realized if I was retyping sentences or writing out the sentences in a book, it would force me to think and remember the information in a particular way.